Hey you guys, Stephanie Zima here with Walk It Free, where we heal, connect, and level up. Okay, so today we're going to talk a little bit about the dreaded imposter syndrome. Have you ever felt really, actually it's not only some imposter syndrome, but have you ever felt shame? Has anybody ever celebrated a win and you are looking at that and thought to yourself like, oh, sting. You know, I wish I would feel the same way, or I wish I would be able to say something like that, or I wish I would be as great, or I wish like, why are they like, and then that jealousy monster comes a little bit around where you're looking at it and thinking to yourself like, why are they able to progress so much? And as you're having that thought, you're somehow reflecting back as to what you did, and you start realizing like, you know, I don't feel like I can actually celebrate anything. And that's what is imposter syndrome, okay? That is when you somehow feel really small when everyone else is super big. Okay, and how do you deal with that? What are you going to do? So there's like multiple different facets to it, okay? So one for one is actually the fact that other people have different standards, okay? Depending on how they grew up, depending what their value system were, so on and so forth. Somehow, some people can celebrate their wins and they are looking at things that they've done and they feel great about it and they have amazing words to describe what it is they're doing. And when you really dig in, their things are just really, really little. It's not necessarily like a big thing. They make it just sound or look like it without wanting to inflate it. It's not something that they're purposely doing. It is something that just happens through the way how they are describing it, right? Now, if you ever come across that, if you have ever heard this like that, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Now you're gonna look at your performance and you're gonna think to yourself like, I didn't do anything, you know. But then when you really one-on-one compare it, you actually realize that you've done probably triple of the amount more than what the other person has done that you originally felt jealous about, right? Okay. So how can this be? How can this be that one person is able to celebrate their wins and feel great and the other person is like, you know, feeling yucky? It's depending on how you got raised in excellence standards, okay? So if you, like, for example, I'm going to tell you a little story. In my family, everything had to be excellent. I had to be super great at everything. I had to be like, you know, and the things that I was doing were somehow never good enough. So no matter, I had no measure of being good, or this is good and now I can strive for more, or, you know, this is my goal, I'm gonna hit it and I exceed it. And there was no language in my body, in my brain, there was no language for that type scenario, that when you hit a goal and you exceed it, of some sort, or even the language how to achieve a goal. Because in my family, the way how I grew up, those goals were not important. Those goals were not something that we were raising to be, or I was raised to be celebrating, and I wasn't raised at all to even looking at my own performance. So now being in business, it's a whole lot of different story, right? So I'm starting to work, I'm doing all the things. I needed to train myself to celebrate and think and realize when I hit a goal, when I did something. In the beginning, I would always sit there and think to myself, like, why is everyone else hitting goals when I never hit any goal? Okay, now pay attention to that thought in the brain. I never hit any goals. Well, it's not that I don't hit any goals or that I'm not doing anything or that I'm like, it's that I am not setting any goals to begin with, okay, to actually be celebrating those little side steps with, okay? Do you understand what I'm saying? So that is basically what it is. Some people, they have language around it that they understand that here's my goal, I'm going to do these steps and I'm going to get to that goal and I'm going to tell myself how amazing I am. And then there's other people who do not have language because that's just not something that they've ever done, okay? When you feel that sting of pain, when you feel that sting of emotion happening for you, oh, ouchie, I'm not good enough, okay? Some people get motivated through that, through more action, and they're going to get into action. Those are the people who actually have been raised to meet a goal and run after it. And then there's people like me who did not. Like, the moment you feel like you cannot measure up to something, you are not getting motivated, you retreat, because now it becomes so much more painful even to looking at it, because you are feeling like the imposter. You maybe have been told all your life, like, you big talker, you are a big dreamer, you are like not good enough, you will never amount to anything. Why don't you just focus on the little things that you're supposed to be doing? Why should, like housewives, why should you build a business? Just focus on your children. Like, all the shame and the guilt and the things people say to keep you small and to keep you where they need you to be, because they need you. You have to pay attention to that. They need you to stay there. They need you to stay small. They don't want you to be big. They are not coming and encouraging you and saying, wait a minute, you are amazing and look at all the things that you've done. Okay? And it's important to take that minute to take a look at what it is that you are achieving, wanting to achieve. Where is your sight? Where's your goal? Okay, what mark are you hitting in the next 90 days? What is your mark? What do you want to achieve? Where are you right now? Where do you want to get to? What are the mile markers? What are the guideposts? And how are you going to feel when you hit them? You have to start creating language for it. You have to start creating words of how do you feel when you hit your daily mark. So if I do every single thing in a day that I want to accomplish, I'm gonna feel so excited. I'm gonna feel accomplished, and I'm gonna feel on top of it. I'm gonna make it personal for you. What is it? And you can see I still have to do some work around it, because this is something that I'm a big worker. I work and work and work and work, but I don't have much language around how you feel in that moment. So you probably don't either if you're anything like me. What we need to do is we need to figure out what words are there to feel accomplished. What are the words? What are the words other people use? What are the words that make you feel, get curious. What are the words that make other people, or that make you feel less than? What hurts you? What words hurt you? What are they using? What are they using? And when could you feel like that? If you looking and reflecting now on your job, on your work, on your journey, on your accomplishments, all those things, pay attention to that and start making yourself a plan. Make a plan for 90 days that you are going to be able to hit these markers and write those words down so you can start celebrating those goals too. Imposter syndrome only happens when you're not doing that work, when you're not doing the work to realizing where you are great, where you are amazing, where are you having deficits in your language, in your brain, in your language, it could be just simple. You don't have to have narcissists in your background or in your family or anything. It could just simply be that your parents maybe not been very much verbal. There are people like my friend, for example, like she talks all the time to her kids, and her kids are so articulate and they speak all the time. Well, my kids don't speak that well. I'm just gonna have to say it, because I don't talk that much. And I'm trying to get better, right? We all have to have our little gaps that we're working on, but it's a process. So what is it for you? Do you have a lot of words? Do you have a lot of shame that goes around it? Do you feel like you shouldn't be winning? Do you feel like you are not good enough? Because any skill can be learned. Any skill can be learned. If you're identifying that someone is better than you and you want that, you can figure out what are the steps that I'm missing in between, and then go ahead and acquire those skills. It's totally possible. It's totally doable. The only thing preventing you is your thoughts about it, and the emotions that are coming up with that, and then the action you take from those thoughts. I hope that helped you guys overcome that imposter syndrome. Let's go.